So thank you everyone for being here. As I said, I am so, so grateful to you, and I genuinely mean that. You know, for some people, I don't know what time of day it is. For some, it's putting children to bedtime. For others, it's I've just rolled out of bed and I'm still, you know, coming around. And in Australia, it's Friday night, and some people might be looking forward to having a night out somewhere. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I'm truly grateful. I absolutely love sharing this masterclass. I do it every year. It's actually part of a paid program, and I decided to pull it out of there for the last few years and help people out with creating something that went much more beyond a word for the year. But I'll explain more about that in a minute. So by the end of this masterclass, you are going to have your very own inspirational theme and compass, and it's going to guide you through 2021. Right now, lots of people do word of the year. That's been a thing forever. And I used to do that too. You know, I would certainly spend a little bit more time on thinking about it. But essentially, I was cherry picking a word. And what I found after a few years, and I mean, this is probably going back 10 years or more, but a few years of doing that, I was kind of finding by around about March or April, that word that I picked on the 31st of December, or, you know, whenever I'd chosen it, it kind of wasn't really resonating with me anymore. And also it often didn't feel enough, because I don't, you know, none of us are singular. None of us are, you know, one dimensional. And my favorite thing in the world is to show people my diamond. How I wish it was real. But, you know, a diamond sparkles, and any cut stone, you know, that's precious or semi-precious, sparkles more brightly because it's multifaceted. And that's a representation of us. We are multifaceted. So I found it very difficult after a while to kind of make do with one word. And I really felt like I needed to create something more that kind of represented more of my facets, as well as what I was hoping or intending to do for that year. So I then came up with, because I love creation and creating things and, and ways to do things, is one of my things I really love to do. I'm a former teacher, and if anybody knows anything about teachers, is we are forever creating resources, particularly in the early years of education. We have to create them to help all those beautiful kiddies to learn and grow. And so, you know, this is sort of something I really love to do. And then when I did that, I kind of really loved it when I actually said to myself and gave myself permission, which seems really, really ridiculous, doesn't it? We kind of get caught up in it has to be a certain way, and the truth is it really doesn't. You are unique, and you can do things your way. And honestly, the inspirational theme and compass really is much more representative of you in this space, in this year, at this time, with your vision. All right, so it's bringing a lot of elements into alignment. So you know, so I love this image. Isn't she gorgeous? So does this ring true for you at all, that come the end of, now I'm going to talk about 2020 in a moment, but let's kind of press pause on 2020 at the moment and just reflect on previous years. You know, very often people get to that 31st of December and they're like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait for the new year. Everything is going to be different. It's going to be fantastic. Everything's going to be wonderful. And as I said previously, I'd get a few months into the year and then I'd realize that, you know, well, actually it's the same old again, if I'm not actually making changes, or if I'm not really in true alignment, or if I'm not really being intentional. It's not about those New Year resolutions. It's actually about those being intentional and setting in intentions that actually are in alignment with you, your goals, your vision, your values, all of that. But very often we get to the end of the year, right? Because what happens is we kind of go, oh my gosh, it didn't work out as I planned again. And the thing is, we've often planned it in our head, and from our head, down to our actions, there's quite a few things that go on in between that don't necessarily gel for us, and then, you know, complications, and life happens. And boy, didn't life happen in 2020. And of course, as I was just discussing prior to recording, it's still ongoing. And we have no idea what life will look like. The reality is, like I'm sure you all can recognize now, we have no concept or idea of how life will continue to evolve. Well, normal doesn't exist anymore for a lot of people. I do appreciate it does for some people. So if you have been very blessed and you haven't had any negative impact in real terms, then obviously everybody is impacted. I get that in some way, shape or form, because, you know, we can't travel. Whilst we are still in this state of flux and unknowing, it can be very easy to kind of tip into the belief system or the thought patterns that I just won't make any decisions yet. I'm just not really going to choose what I want to do with my life, or what I want to do this year, because there's no guarantees of anything. But the truth is, there's no guarantees of anything anyway. But that doesn't mean that we don't make intentional choices now and help ourselves to be in a lot more alignment, so that as we do continue to progress through 2021, regardless of what is going on out there, regardless of what the situation is with COVID or anything else, that we feel like we're in alignment. And this, you know, is one tiny element of that. I mean, I'm truly, although it's very powerful, I do see it as a very tiny element, but I love to share it because, as I said previously, so many people choose a word of the year, and I believe this is much more powerful. And I've had so many clients who have said, oh, this is so much better. And you'll understand as we get going, okay? Who felt as they went into, as the clock ticked over this year, this new year, that it was kind of like we were a little bit trepidatious and a little bit sort of, gosh, what's around the corner, rather than how it used to be like, yay, all celebrations and can't wait for the new year because we're so positive. So if you kind of stepped into 2021 a little gingerly and a bit unsure about, you know, maybe even a little cynical, let me know. Or if you were just kind of having your normal experience of New Year, that's great too. There's no right or there's no wrong. So who am I? Some of you know me very, very well, so I won't spend a lot of time on this, but I'm Nicole Hewitt Donaldson, Nicole. And I've been working in the field of transformation, human development, human potential, creating life and business exactly as you would love it, helping people to overcome all sorts of limitations, traumas, limiting beliefs, transforming so many aspects of their lives, all areas of life. And I primarily work with women, and I love working with really driven and ambitious women. And I do work with men as well. It's just that I have a really strong affinity to working with women because of my own life experience and childhood, and being raised by two beautiful women who were extremely disadvantaged, had every challenge in life thrown at them. And I also in childhood had, you know, experienced that. And what I saw were women who were really beautiful, really wonderful, were much more capable than their opportunities and their life experiences had allowed them to be and show up. So that's why I particularly have my heart in the space of helping women. But I do, well, I cannot say I don't work with men, because I do. I have male clients. I'm not for everybody. You know, I'm not a fluffy coach. I've been described as a brick wrapped in love. Yeah, I'm a personal mastery specialist and transformational coach. I have a whole range of tools and qualifications at my disposal. But really today, all that matters is we're using some of those to help you to create this fantastic inspirational theme and compass, all right? So hopefully you've got your workbook printed out. If you haven't, that's not an issue. You can, it's very helpful to have the one page in particular that you really do need, because you want to be able to highlight it. And that's your word bank, your inspirational word bank. So yeah, so what I've suggested is you have, you know, highlighters if you like color. I love color. I've always got more highlighters than I have anything else going on. And a pen is kind of the two items, as well as your workbook, that you'll need. Okay. We've moved over into 2021. We're not necessarily different, right? You don't just magically change in that period between 1 year and the next. But so we're kind of the same, even though we're continuously evolving and changing. We're never completely, we're not static at all. We're in growth, and certainly everybody on this call would be in growth a lot of the time, because that's what you're choosing. But what changes is the energy of the year. So even though a lot of people will say, oh, nothing changes, it's just another date, that of course it really is. However, the energy of the year does change. Now, if you've done any work around actual, you know, resonance and numerology and things like that, then, you know, this kind of might be your thing. So in 2020, we were a 4-year. And 2021, we've just moved into a 5-year. So I'm sure you know that 2 of the 2020, 2021 is 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 5. So we're in a 5 energy this year, which is in your workbook on page 2, which I didn't put in the slides, and I'm now regretting that I didn't do it. So that's why I kind of went forward then backwards. A 5 energy is really interesting. And the reason I put that numerology kind of grid in there, of where the numbers all sit with one another, is because you can see that 5 sits right in the center of all the other numbers. Now, that doesn't just mean, oh, isn't that an interesting placement? It actually also relates to the fact that 5 is the number of freedom. It's the number of expansion. It's the number of, there is actually so much that you could be doing, having, being this year, because the energy of the year globally, planetary, all around, is that of adventure, of, let me write it all, yeah, risk, change, risk taking, expanding into new things. So when you look at that 5 in the middle there, and you see I've made it bigger, you'll see that it actually does connect with all those other things. Now, after we've come out of 2020, right, which was 2020 was a 4, it's about hard work, it's about industriousness, it's about also a lot of minutiae. So we've had a really it can be very challenging. So we've come from that, and now we're into freedom. But if we chose to look outside of what's going on, we might think, well, there is no freedom, you know, we're still so restricted. But the energy still exists that this is in place. So instead, we can look for, where do I have the freedom? Where is the adventure? You know, where can I have new experiences, new opportunities, try new things? Where can I take some risks, you know, and where can I, you know, sort of have new adventures and experiences, as I said. Now, where you want to consider that is in relation to who you are and what you want to do, right? All of your goals. Again, this is about utilizing that energy in your life it's a multi-layered approach. Now, the downside with the 5 energy is that we can have so much going on. Again, have a look at the image now and view it through a different lens. We can have so much going on that actually we're scattered, we're unfocused, we're not actually achieving anything, we're chasing our tail. You know, it's like everything is everywhere. It's kind of can be very, very cluttered. So again, this is why you have to be intentional. Well, you don't have to be, but I recommend that you choose to be intentional right from the get-go, which is why we're doing this now, and actually really focus on what experiences you want in 2021, as well as what goals you have, what your vision is, you know, and really connect to all of that. And just know that the energy of the year is supporting you in that as well, right? That's why that's really good. But don't get caught up in not being focused and not being intentional, because when you are, that is when we can fall into the unproductive scattered energy, as I was saying. So I hope that makes sense. But this is why it's so important to consciously create your life and your business. Okay, so in your workbook, don't read the instructions. Okay, there's instructions in there, but don't read those. Just listen to me, because I don't want you kind of reading and then going, where is she, right? I won't say everything exactly as it's in the workbook, but you will get the right steps to do. Okay, so I invite you now all to close your eyes. I mean, hopefully you're in a position where you can do that. You're safe. You're not, obviously, hopefully you're not driving. So don't close your eyes if you're doing that. So I invite you to just close your eyes and put your hands to your heart. The reason we do that is, it's not because it's, you know, it's got an image of being a bit, you know, namby-pamby with some people, but it actually brings us into our body rather than in our head. And a lot of very driven and smart and capable people, who is everybody on this call, and I'm sure everybody watching the replay, we tend to be in our heads, right? So when you put your hand to your heart, it actually brings us into that space of connecting to our body. And we're going to drop down into that, okay? So with your eyes closed, and I do this so you can close your eyes, you won't see me, and I obviously can't see you, but I want you just to take a nice deep breath in. Just allow the breath to go in through your nose and bring it all the way down through your lungs and all the way down into the lower part of your belly. Just breathe in really deeply. And breathe out. If you want to make a sound, you can. Again, I can't hear you. And just breathing in again, just keeping your hand on your heart, just breathing in. Just bring yourself to really a center for you. Okay, this is your time, this is your place, this is all about you and connecting to you, your life, your vision for the year, any goals that you have. And then just keep taking a nice deep breath in and breathe out. Now, with your eyes closed, keeping those beautiful deep breaths going, I want you to reflect on and bring into your mind's eye, or bring into your feeling. People have different ways of accessing information, so whatever works for you. Just allow yourself to connect with what you have scheduled for this year, because we all have things that are scheduled. What goals you have for this year, what dreams you have for this year, what you would love to achieve this year in any of the parts of your life that are important to you. So that can be your business, of course. It may also be relationships. It may be your health. It may be your finances. So just give yourself a moment and a minute while breathing deeply, keeping your hand on your heart, and just allowing yourself to feel into that energy of 2021 for you, because this is your year. Okay, it's unique to you. I'll just be quiet for a moment. I won't be too long though. Okay. So now you'll have a feeling, you'll have a sense. You don't have to have absolute clarity on everything. That's the beauty of this, okay? You just have to get a real sense and a feeling at this stage. So now, before you open your eyes, I want you to stay in that energy as much as possible. Okay, so staying in that energy, open your eyes and turn to page 6 of your workbook. And with your highlighter, in the energy, with the knowing and the sense that you have of what you envisioned or felt or sensed, I want you to go through without thinking and just go through, and any word that feels true or right or supportive for you throughout this year, I want you to highlight it. I don't want you to analyze it. I don't want you to edit it. If you get a sense of, oh, just go through, and it doesn't matter if you've got 10 or 20, however many you highlight is fine, okay? This is just the exploration and selection at this stage of all the words that feel true or right or appropriate in relation to what you felt or saw, okay? So I'll just give you a minute while I'm quiet, but if you've got questions, let me know. If you've finished that and there were any that you were unsure about, you can go back and have another little look at those words, just again glancing over them, and just see if you do include any others. And remember, it's a feeling exercise, it's not an analytical exercise, okay? Now, there's 160 words on this page, and of course we all know there's many thousands more that could be on there, I'm sure hundreds at least. And here we are, we're still whittling down to numbers that are really quite high, okay? So this is, you'll like the next step, all right? Because this is where I start to teach you some tools to be able to whittle this down. Yes, I know, I'm seeing the comments. It's yeah, it really is about the initial intuition. It's not, oh, would that be okay? It's not that. It's that sense of yes, yes, no, skip. If it goes, it's not for you. I mean, some are definite no's. Some will be, oh, but when you actually focus in again on, you know, the year ahead, it's like, oh, not that word actually. Now, there are many, many, many on your page, right? So this is where you go, first of all, if you only had one word of the year, how on earth would you be able to whittle that down to one word and really feel that it was your one word, right? So there we go. That tells you something, doesn't it, just from that little experience alone. But the next step is to use some intuitive processes, okay? So what I want you to do is really feel into this question, really get it in your head. And you can, I've put different language in here because whether you're calling it your vision, your goals, if it's business and life, or if it's just business or just life, whatever it is, you phrase the question exactly as you want it to be, as you ask the question, okay? But what I'm going to show you first is the sway test. And maybe, I don't know whether anybody here has already done the sway test, if you know the sway test, but when you know this sway test, you are going to use it for so many things, okay? It's going to, I won't say revolutionize your life because that is quite an exaggeration. That's a stretch at the best, but you will certainly be able to use it in so many different ways. But let me teach you first, and then I just want to see if anyone here, what's this comment? I mean, I have taught it to people. Yeah, exactly. So some people know it, but they forgot about it, right? So I even use this when I go for food. You know, sometimes you're like, oh, what do I want? I don't trust what my mouth says. I'm asking my body. Okay, but anyway, that's by the by. So I'll have to turn on my side. So forgive me for not looking at the camera for a while. So the sway test is, you're standing up. So obviously you're all going to need to do that. If you, I really would love you to try this now so that you know that you've got it and you trust yourself with this. I'm just going to move my stool. So you're standing up, you're about your feet are about hip width apart. and your knees are relaxed, you know, not locking them in. You know how we always used to be told, don't lock your knees. So you definitely don't want to lock your knees for that. And you would stand up, you know, upright and whatever. And the first thing we're going to do is you're going to test if your sway is correct, first of all, because then you will trust it. Okay. So you can't just talk willy-nilly. You really have to feel, you know, connected. So just forgive me a minute while I just do this. So I'm going to say to myself, my name is Nicole. Right. Now, can you see there, you should see that I've gone forward. Yeah. And I didn't do that on purpose, right? It works. You might stand there. You might stand still for a moment, but just allow, you can keep thinking it. You can say it out loud. You use this in that way. Okay. So you're making a statement. My name is Nicole, right? So let me just wait. Yeah. So the sway came after, right? So now I'm just going to shake that off a little bit, right? Just so I know that I've got nice clean energy. And now I'm going to say, my name is Sally. Right. And it takes you backwards. So I just want you to practice that with your name. Okay. And let me know how you go. I'll just give you a moment to try that out. So now once you've got your sway correct, that you go forwards for confirmation or yes, and backwards sway for no, negative, you know, that's not true. You are going to, what I recommend you do is you have your list in front of you and you are looking just at one word at a time. Okay. And you can either look at it to get it and then just put it in your head. Okay. And you really want to connect with that word. And so what you're now, have a pen or another color marker with you for this exercise as well, just at hand. A pen is fine. So now what you're going to do is you're going to ask yourself, and let's just take the first word. This is actually my list. This was what I came up with, right? With mine for this year. Is intentional going to support me at the highest levels for achieving my vision, goals, whatever, in business and life in 2021? Now, you can shorthand that as long as you are connected to your vision and your goals, right? You can say, is intentional going to support me in achieving at the highest levels in my business and life in 2021? Right. See, and that's actually taken me forward. Like I didn't even try that. So this is that's one of my end words actually. So that's what you're going to do. Now, what I did was I would just, when I say quickly, I'm taking what time I need, but it didn't take forever. I just literally had my little purple and I put a little mark next to it. And then I would go to the next one. Okay. Is consistent going to support me for my highest good in my business right. Honestly, can you see it's just sent me backwards? So this is really interesting. I can double check, but I've checked anyway. So I know which are my words and which aren't. So you're going to go through for every word as quickly as you can. And you're just going to put a mark. And you'll find that you will very soon start whittling that list down to the words that your unconscious is aware is for your highest good in relation to you achieving what it is that you want to for this year. Okay, so take as long as you want, and obviously you can pause this video if you're listening to the recording. And then when you've got all of your words tested and you've marked them, you can just come back to the recording and start again. So the next stage, now what I want to show you, I literally took photos of every step of my my process. So I see the purple marks, I put them down on the left-hand side first. That was where, when I did the sway test, the purple mark was from the first sway test, whittling it down to a list of 10. Ignore the ones on the right at the moment. So what you do now is you go through your list of the ones that you've got the mark next to. And I want you again to connect in. I don't want you to think. Okay, it's very important. It's not a thinking process. It's really a feeling and a sensing process. I want you to connect back in with your vision for the year ahead. And of course, there's many different things in that. It's not just all business. It's not just all life and health and, you know, opportunities, romance, whatever. It's broad. So I don't want you to think this is my biggest goal, so I need that. We want the best words that are for your highest good. That's where we're going with this, all right? So now go through, and the ones that have got the mark next to them in whatever way that you've done that, just have a look at those and just ask yourself again, is this going to support me for my highest good this year? Like, you want to get, like, if there's any words that you get a really strong, like, oh my gosh, this so really resonates with me for this year. This is a conscious, but you are connecting in, right? So you're making a decision here, but just go through, and I actually put a little mark. You can't see it now because I've got the big marks over them, but I put a little mark next to some that I went, and I think I ended up with 2. Out of my 10, I only ended up with 2 that these are 2 words I really want this year, but I did test them as well. So go through now, and out of your list that you've got left, some of you have got, you know, a low amount and some have got higher. Just really lean into which of these words do I really, really want to support me this year. Okay. So if you just want to just pause what you're doing for a moment. Oh, okay. Oh, you're so welcome, Prachi. Thank you so much for being here live. I do appreciate it. You will, I promise you, you will get this done. All right. I'll get to the recording out hopefully tomorrow. It's nighttime here in Australia. So, all right. Thank you for being here. Very grateful. So what you're going to do now, out of those words, whether you've got 6 or 10 or whatever, it doesn't matter. However many words you've got left, but the ones that you've asterisked, okay, and you've said, I really, really want these. I'm going to show you another way to use intuitive energies to assess this. And I'm just going to drop, oops, I'm at my standing desk. So I'm just going to drop this down. You can't see, goodness me. Right. So, still, sorry, I have to be standing on tippy toes. So standing up again, right, you put your arms out. I'll lift them up, but you wouldn't lift them up like that, right? You just have them hands out as if I'm going to give you a bag of gold in each hand, which is absolutely, wouldn't that be lovely? And you look at 2 words. So you've got multiple words left, right? This sounds a bit complicated, but once you get into the flow of it, you'll be fine with it, okay? So if you just had 5 words left at this point, you would not do this process. You don't need to do it. But if you've got more than 5 words, this is another process you can do, right? It's a comparison one, right? So in one of your hands, so in your left hand, you energetically an intention to place 1 word. So let's say you've got, let me bring up a list. You've got achieve, and you're comparing it to vibrant, for example. So you would, again, you've got to stand. It's better if you stand, but it is okay if you sit down. Let me just say that to you. You would stand, you would say, okay, this achieve is in my left hand, vibrant is in my right hand. And you picture them, right? You've got a great imagination, you can do that. And you ask yourself, just relax your shoulders, you know, you're not tensing everything up. You just, as if you're just receiving money, just keeping your hands beautiful, soft focus. And just ask yourself, which out of these 2 words, achieve, and you can kind of do this, achieve, or what was the word? Vibrant. Which out of these is going to be most supportive to me with my goals and vision for this year? Now, if you close your eyes, I get visually distracted, so I like to close my eyes. You may find that one of your palms tingles. You may find that you feel a little bit more weight in one hand. That is your unconscious mind telling you which one is more powerful for you. So actually, even though these aren't my words, my left hand, which has got achieve in it, it's actually really good to do that, because that probably would be a word I would choose over vibrant, right? So that kind of doesn't surprise me. But sometimes we've got words that are so close together, or we really consciously love them and we think both are important. This is like a laser, it's fine tuning the process. You get two words, you've got one in one palm, one in the other, and you're using it. And this is your intuitive scales. Mine tends to be more, I get a tingling or warmth in the palm rather than weight, but sometimes I do feel that there is something in my palm rather than the other one not being there, if that makes sense. Sorry, it's so warm here, my glasses are slipping off my face. So go ahead and do that. So the language you would use here is just simply which word or which one, but you've got to keep your mind on these words, right? So you've got to hold them in your mind. And that's the thing, because you might be looking at two of your children, for example, and go, oh, which one is, you know, and your unconscious may get confused signals. That's why closing your eyes is really good. So which word, A or B, you know, this or that, is going to support me most this year? And you can keep it as simple as that, which is going to support me most. It doesn't have to be really complex at this stage. So if you are listening to the recording, you can just pause at this point while you do this process. Okay, so when you've got down to your 5 words that are left through that process of using the intuitive scales to really fine tune those last words, then you're going to put those onto, it's page 5 actually in your workbook. And I've just shown you here, these are my words for this year. And in all honesty, I wouldn't necessarily have chosen all of them, but I trust the process. So I've gone with it because I know how powerful it is, because my unconscious knows more than I do, right? My conscious mind is limited. It's only around, 5 to 10% of the capacity of the rest of my mind. And it knows things and is connected out into the field, out into the matrix, out into the greater consciousness of what is. And so I trust the process. So you put your words down. It doesn't matter in what order, you know, I literally just went through the list and put them down. And then, okay, this is what you do. Now you are going to write in that box on the right what that word means to you in relation to your year ahead, in relation to who you are, how you show up. You know, if I read you mine, now you don't obviously have to do it exactly like me, but this isn't about having the Oxford dictionary understanding of the word. We don't need, it doesn't matter what it means by definition. It's what does it mean to you? So intentional, right? So what does it mean to me? So this is a reminder to intentionally create all aspects of my life, all thoughts, all feelings, all behaviors, because they are creating the outcome that I want to achieve, that I truly desire. I need to be intentional in all areas of my life with all things. Now, I know what that means to me. That means my thoughts, it means my behaviors, it means my emotions, it means what I think about other people, my judgments. I know what that means, right? And you're putting it down here so that you're creating an anchor, right? That actual process of writing it down in what it means to you is going to be very powerful in anchoring that in. So take time to go through each word and write down the meaning for you in relation to this year, okay? And what you want to do, what you want to achieve, what you've got coming up. If you're listening to the recording, just pause here and finish that step before you continue. Okay, so once you've written those down, you've got your definitions, your meaning, then that is anchored. You're going to always have a place to come back to and remember and have reinforced what that word means to you, because you know we're used to patterns of behavior that are habits. And when we're changing habits, when we're changing our thoughts about ourselves, when we're changing our behaviors, we can often forget why we're doing something. We tip back into patterns of behavior. And also we can tip back into, well, what does that mean to me? Okay, so you've got this written down. You can remember, you can anchor it in. You can go, that's right, that is what it means to me. And that's why that word's important in my compass. So the next step, once you've got to there, is to now determine what is your theme or anchor word. I interchangeably use those words. Now, I would recommend that what you do here is the sway test. It's going to be the quickest one for you. And you can ask yourself which of these words serves as an anchor point from which everything else flows. If I'd asked my head, right, intentional was what I was going to choose. When I did the sway test, worthy came up. And I even used some other kinesiology testing to check it, because I really wanted intentional to be my my theme and my anchor word. But no, it was worthy. So I'm like, okay, I'll go with it. All right. And I trust, as I said, I trust the process. So just, you know, stand up now and do this. And once you've got your theme or anchor word, right, you just circle it, or, you know, you don't even have to circle it. I've done it on this document, but you don't have to, because you get to put it actually onto your compass, which is the next page anyway, which we'll do in a moment. So just let me know when you've got that, okay? I'm going to pause the recording again. Okay, so the next step then, once you've got your theme word for the year, is you pop it onto your inspirational compass. Okay, so there's mine right in the middle, worthy. And as I said, I consciously wouldn't have chosen that. Not that there's anything wrong with worthy, but I just was really drawn to having intentional in the center as my theme word. But no, it's worthy, right? So you pop yours in, and then with the 4 words that are left, you can either sway test to place them, or I'll let you know what I do. And again, I think this might be because I'm so used to doing it. I've been doing it that long. I look at the words that are there, you know, the 4 words that are left after I've got my anchor word. Now, let me just explain. There's compass points there, north, south, east, and west. And it's not because for any other reason than it's just compass points. The center word, the theme, you know, your theme word, your anchor point is actually your North Star, right? So it's not north directional, it's North Star. It's just that concept of this is actually, this is the everything, right? So the northern point is not your North Star. Don't think of it like that. But north, for something north, or the point on the compass that points that way, to me is, for me, it's sort of that directional, moving forward. It's the way I see it. It's how you interpret it is completely up to you. So I tend to always feel that quite a strong word goes on the north for me. And I do find that then the southern point, the bottom tip, seems to be like a solid base, a backup, a foundation piece. I don't know why, it always works out that way. You've got to lean into what these cardinal points mean for you. All right, so you've still got your North Star, your theme, your center one, right? That is the overarching theme, the guide. But these other ones are actually helping you with, throughout the year, what have you got to also remember? What have you also got to be conscious of? So I tend to place my north, then my south, and then I tend to find that the east and west, they fall. And for some reason, like you can see there, I've got action on the right, and it just felt right because, you know, I'm right-handed, taking action, you know, it's the doing aspect of things. So for me, it fell beautifully there. And it, again, I can feel it in my body. They feel correctly placed for me. My year, what's coming up, various things. It doesn't, you know, nobody else needs to know. This is your own personal theme and compass. So just go ahead and place those now, and see how you go. And if you do want to, you can actually do the sway test to place them if you're really not sure, or if you have you've placed a couple but you're not sure about the other two, for example, then you can do the sway test to say, you know, does this belong on the left, you know, left hand of the compass, or the east or the west, or whatever, whatever language you want to use. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and I'll pause the recording. So once you've done that, you've got your inspirational theme and compass. And here are some of the ways that you can remind yourself and have it front and center, so that you can, you know, when times are tough, when you feel challenged, when something's going on, you can actually, you know, you can refer to it. So I like to have it on my phone screen. I've done that before, made a screensaver for my phone. You can put them on sticky notes around your home, your office, wherever you are. You can make a screensaver. You can even journal about it. Okay, so that's something that I'm adding in this year, actually, more intentionally. So there you go, it's intentional, to actually write about these words and my experience of them as I go through. You know, it might not be every day that I journal in the mornings, because that's part of my creating my inspirational morning and my day and life in general. But I can see how it could be really, really valuable and important to bring this into journaling as well. So you could do that. Now, the other thing is, when it's on your phone, okay, this is what I found last year in particular, because I created some really nice screensavers last year for them. Sometimes, you know, you're seeing it every single day, so you can't forget it, because you've got that anchor there. All right, every single day it's your screensaver. I know that, you know, we probably want loved ones. You could have it anyway. You make a decision. But sometimes I would fall back into perhaps old patterns, or do things in a way that I didn't really want to do them. And my theme word for last year was sovereignty. And every single time that I would kind of slip back into, you know, sort of, maybe, I'm not a subservient woman, but I can certainly, nobody would describe me as that at all. But it's very easy sometimes to not allow yourself to stand in your power. So every time I would look at my phone, I'd go, am I standing in, like, have I got sovereignty in this situation at the moment? Do I feel as if I have? And it was really, really good from that perspective. But also, and I can't remember what my other words were on the compass. I've got it somewhere. But I know that at times I wasn't being, I think vulnerability was definitely one of my words. And because I actually am so strong and so driven, it's not that I'm not vulnerable, everyone's vulnerable, but I wouldn't always allow myself to be vulnerable. So having the reminder there about vulnerability being a powerful word for me actually allowed me to lean a lot more into that. And I had some very different experiences in my life, in my relationships, in so many different areas that really benefited me. And it was that reminder, because I'm not naturally openly hugely vulnerable with people. I'm very much an open book. I tend to share quite a bit, and I'm not bothered. But there's some, you know, vulnerability is different for all of us. So there's things I can talk about that somebody else wouldn't be happy talking about, because it would make them feel vulnerable. But for me, because I've done so much work around it, I have no issue. But I still have areas that I didn't want to be vulnerable. And that's the thing. It was in those areas where I was like, oh, lean into being vulnerable here, because I'm trying to be strong and tough and carry the burden, carry the load, whatever it was. So it was only in relation to that I would need it. So this is how your inspirational theme and compass is going to help you in so many different ways. I mean, it's going to help you in ways that I haven't even experienced. That's the thing. It's not just a pretty little word. It's not, this is something that's really meaningful for you, and in relation to you. And if you know, like, this is just one layer, as I said, of you know, really kind of bringing in that deeper levels of alignment about who you are, what you want in life, what you want this year, but not just this year, it's every year and into the future, right? So those are some of my ideas that are great ways to use it. You may have other ways that you've already thought of, what you're going to do with this and how you might use this for yourself. And you may even go on and write down, I mean, this is, you know, like, you can do much more advanced things, like you can go and write. So if I was, so let's pick some of the words, it doesn't really matter. So if I was taking action, for example, now you know yourself, you know where you don't take action. So with the goals that you have for yourself, what would it look like if you were taking action? You know, you can start to use it as your accountability as well. You know, it's another thing I could have put on there. You know, so it's the reminders, it's the accountability, it's all sorts of things. All right. So does any of that resonate with anybody? Have you got any other ideas about how you might use it, or how you think you could use it? Okay. So that's really it. Like, you have created now your inspirational theme and compass. And you know, I genuinely know how powerful this is. I know it's much more meaningful, much more powerful than a single word. And now you also know that actually it's come from a deep part of you. I did want to share something with you. So if you are interested, there is some follow-up to this if you wanted to have a look at kickstarting your 2021 with a 21-day. It's a group program, but it's fully supported, and it's not as intense as my previous Create Your Inspirational Year, but this is a lot easier for people to get to grips with, as well as to get it done over a shorter period of time, but still to allow you to take your time if you need it, because you'll have all of the recordings and everything else. So kickstarting your 2021 in 21 days, you know, it allows you to come even more fully to align with your vision, determine your future, clear any blocks, lead your life and your business, okay? Because, you know, there really is no difference between life and business. How we do anything is how we do everything. So coming more fully into alignment and clearing things in relation to what might be holding us back is really powerful. And some of the things, not all of the things, it includes identifying and clearing limiting beliefs and blocks, group RTT, for those of you who, I think everyone here has experienced it, but for those on the recording, RTT is a rapid transformational therapy. It's a deep form of transforming anything that holds you back. We use hypnosis, I use hypnosis, and we go through and access your subconscious mind, which has, again, all the information, and you clear that, and you have a 21-day recording to listen to after that too. And that will all be about anything that's holding you back from moving forward, taking action. You know, that's sort of the topic and the theme it's going to be around. And then you get this powerful transformational recording that you'll listen to every day for 21 days. And then that is all going to be about you living your future, creating it, taking action, you know, all of the great feelings. I've got the looping thought transformer. Again, we're not even aware sometimes of what we're thinking and the impact it has on us. So I've got a fantastic exercise to help you with that. Identifying your highest life priorities, which are absolutely crucial, foundational. They are what drive you. And so many people are not even conscious of what they are, even though it's driving them. When you bring the unconscious conscious, then you have power. You're in alignment, you have conscious awareness, you can make conscious level choices from the unconscious that's driving you anyway, right? Because you understand, you know, sometimes people feel like, why do I keep doing that? And when you understand that all of these unconscious elements are actually driving you, not the conscious elements, you can do workarounds to bring yourself into much more alignment. I've got owning traits that are going to empower you, time reclamation and prioritization, aligned goal setting, creating an inspirational roadmap to get you through the year and then through that 90-day period that's coming up. There's office hours, there's pop-up Facebook group, and there's lifetime access to the materials, and there's more besides. So if that is of any interest to you at all, this is the and this is a genuine value from a group program. So if I've gone through and I've actually been very considered and not exaggerating the prices of what I charge for each of these things in a group. So it's $697 is the value. The investment is $297 US, or 2-pay option of $157 US. So I'm starting on the 1st of February. It's 21 days. You don't have to attend. There's only a couple of sessions that you have to attend. You'd be beneficial to attend live. That's the group RTT. And then you get everything else sent to you anyway in the recordings. There's obviously the office hours, Q&A, that's all live. There's lots of support in the group if you need it as you go. But you know, you can self-pace yourself as well. So if that's of interest to you, let me know, Nicole at Nicole HD, and I will be sending out a link anyway for you to go and have a look at that opportunity if that's of interest to you. So genuine thank you to everyone who's been here live with me today. It's not a quick process. Well, it is quick when you're doing it on your own and you know what you're doing. So it does get a lot quicker. If you have to go through again and listen to the video and all that, just know that you can fast forward parts that you're sure of, you know, just go forward to where you need to. Perhaps take a look at anything else that you need to repeat or just get sure of again. But again, thank you so much for being here. I'm really, really grateful. It's a pleasure. I love teaching this. It's something I really love teaching it in a room, but I mean, thank goodness we can do it over Zoom as well. All right. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Nicole.